go inside and just put my send my door on my wife just for looking at the screen.
Time being 6. Last Chairman, if you lead us on the word of prayer.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the night, dear Lord. We thank you for the ability to be able to be here to discuss the business of our school system, Lord. We just ask that we make the best decisions, dear Lord, for everybody involved, dear Lord, all of our stakeholders. And Father, we thank you for loving us, and we thank you for Jesus. All these things we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. We do have one item to add. It's just a purchase order. Be for $23,024.75 to Ernie Morris, and that's a company. And it's for folding tables for Fitzgerald High School, College of Career Academy, new school. I'll pass this around and let you look at it. We'll add that under new business as an item C, and we'll move C to D and so on and so forth. And I'm sure when we get there, I'll be done forgot that. All those in favor of the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. All right, now for some recognitions.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, board members, we would wholeheartedly like to recognize all of y'all tonight for all that you do as board members for our community, and specifically our teachers and staff, and especially our boys and girls. It's been a very, very busy year, and you all have been very diligent in the factor of building a new high school on top of COVID, on top of winning a state title, on top of just running the daily business of a school. And you're to be commended for that. And you're to be commended for the time that you give and the self-sacrifice of what you give to do for others and for our community. So let's give them a round of applause. So, David does not have the best gift tonight, as he assumes he does. I do. So we'll be giving you many gifts here in just a little while, and those opportunities to express our appreciation. So just remember, mine's better than his, so it's all good. Yes, sir.
You want 2 minutes?
I don't need it.
When I had to say that, because he just came in bragging about he had the best gift, and Debbie and I were like, no, you don't. So.
Okay. Do we vote on that?
You can if you want to. Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Move to the minutes, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of February the 8th.
Motion to approve the minutes from February 8th.
Yeah.
Look.
A motion second, any discussion, corrections, additions? All those in favor of the minutes of February the 8th, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. All right, public comments? Everybody signed up? Okay, no one has signed up to speak tonight. Our system reports, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items listed on your agenda, 7A, 1 through 5.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. All right, discussion. First, paid bills list.
Mr. Chairman, the paid bills for Fund 151 is $150,788.52. Fund 100 for the month, our expenses were $2,617,800.69, for a combination of a total of our bills being $2,776,589.21.
Okay. Any questions? General fund fiscal year to date report.
You calling for the fund balance report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. The general fund balance is $6,586,596.41. Give or take about 4,500. It's a little bit out of balance.
And that's after we moved the 2 million to
Yes, sir.
construction.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Last month. All right, East Loss report.
East Block's report for February is $220,954.96. Yes, sir. I see it.
Okay.
Am I looking at it wrong?
You got
Okay. Let's look at
Just down a little bit.
Yeah,
After
yeah,
Christmas.
it is, just a little bit. As a matter of fact, I was wondering, our average, do we start it in January? I know January is really reporting December, but do we start our average in January? Because the average was showing the same thing as the amount I just read out.
We actually started in January. This
started
is
in
the
January.
January collection. This is our first collection for our news law.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
So you ended on the best note you could end.
Okay, did, yes.
Sills report. Mr. New was not here tonight.
He is not here tonight, but I can assure you, they are busy, busy, busy. And they are keeping up with it in a tremendous fashion. And they're just doing an outstanding job.
Video middle school, and
Yes, ma'am.
Middle school's been having a lot of,
That's why they're called for on the renovation to be replaced.
Is that still gonna be next summer?
Yes, sir. We'd never be able to get those HVAC units in place, as far as on the ground even, at this given time. We're gonna order them now and have them sitting there waiting to be able to put them in next summer.
Okay, that's that report. All those in favor of the consent agenda items as presented to you, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. All right, next item you have on your list is the transportation request for March 2022, and all those information. None of those are out of state. A lot of activities though. Good thing, a lot of activities. All right. Next item of business is the Fitzgerald High School, College and Career Academy Board of Directors and
Dr. Sims.
Dr. Sims from South High School.
so Wiley is in tennis tonight, but we're currently in round 3 of Flex. Flex finals are next Tuesday. So we've got 3 teams competing for that. That'll be downtown at the Grand Theater. We had a college fair in January, but we're planning on having another one here maybe towards the end of the year, so we're looking at bringing them back. We have our second skills day coming up on March 14th. This is going to focus on automotive, change your oil, spark plugs, tires. That's during a PL day, so kids don't have to be at school, but they can come in to do that. We're currently working on the signing day for all of our kids that are leaving. As we get more information, we will bring that back to you. And then getting ready for our review. So the state certification, that review's coming up. You'll get more information after we have the education summit, which I don't think they've set a date for.
They have not,
correct?
no, sir.
But the official review will be in December of this year, so we'll be working diligently on that. And then do they have a copy of this report? Did they get that? Okay. So, and then the bottom there, our admin team and instructional team, CTA director, has been working diligently to clean up some of our pathways. We currently offer 32 pathways at the high school compared to, let's say, Houston County that offers 14. And we really just don't have the teaching staff to be able to do it, because how we're doing it right now is we're stacking classes. So a teacher might be actually teaching 3 classes at once, which is kind of crazy, even though, let's take Rob Garber in engineering or mechatronics, even though it's all aligned the same and you can do project-based learning to meet the standards of all of it, it really makes it difficult for the teachers. So I guess our philosophy's been, we want to get good at what we can be good at and not overstretch ourselves. So we started this process in-house and then came up with recommendations and sent those recommendations to our admin team. From there, it went to the College and Career Board where they approved it as well. And now it's for information for y'all. But there's a whole list of things there that you probably don't want me to read from. But the information's there. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. Or Ms. Henderson, who I believe is back there, can answer as well. But that is Mr. Wiley's report.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Simmons.
Next item is our COVID-19 update.
Ms. McCrane?
At this time, we have 1 student with COVID, and no one is on quarantine, no students, and no staff. So we are, at this point, going to not put out a report anymore because thankfully, we have 1. So, but if that does change, we will continue, we will get that out there.
Thanks, ma'am. Good news. Matt, technology.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just want to hit a couple of highlights from the report. As we've kind of been talking about a little bit here lately, we are progressing with our Google transition. We also released just sort of a first FAQ sheet to the schools today. I believe all of you also got a copy of that as well if you want to check that out. Just the idea there basically being very straightforward. Let's try to get some information out, especially things that we know people are talking about or wondering about, and also inviting feedback as well, with the idea being we can keep this thing sort of going as we continue to share more information as the plan is fully developed. For the new high school, lots going on out there, as you would guess. We got the new panels on carts. They're locked up in a single room, ready to go. So as soon as the rooms are ready to receive those, it'll just be a matter of rolling those into the classrooms, and that portion will be ready to go. Also created a transcript request, which is digital, something that Central Registration asked for. So we're very glad to be able to give them a hand with that. Hoping that will kind of help streamline their process just a little bit. Also, we spent a significant amount of time supporting the federal programs review that's going on right now. So not that we had a major part in that, but one of the key pieces was pulling the federal inventory, which were quite involved. So just glad to be a part of that and being able to help Mr. Harden and everything that he was having to kind of address, which is several items. Looking forward, going to be facilitating the network install. This is actually something that we just wrapped up with the physical portion just last week. So the new network at the new school is in physically. Now we're just sort of waiting on some of the other pieces to come together, the fiber terminations, finishing out some of the data closets and so forth, and then we'll be able to actually turn up the network, so to speak, pieces of supplies. And we also are sending someone to audio enhancements training, which is the new intercom system that's going in, starting at the high school. So part of their offering is a training, hands-on. So they'll someone gets to go to the headquarters, put hands on the equipment in a lab scenario, and really learn the ins and outs of that is the idea there. So we'll have someone who's, professionally trained on the system by the makers of the system, by the manufacturers, and, he'll be kind of the expert person on that going forward for us internally. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Matt?
All right. Curriculum and instruction, Mr. Webb.
Good evening. Just have a few things. I want to touch on the school reports first, the second page. Of course, the primary school, they had their first read-all day on February the 11th. All classrooms participated in older reading, partner reading, listing the stories online. FH students need to read them. And AR is off to a great start, and they are having their AR kickoff this Thursday, March the 10th. And CIS will be hosting its first book distribution during that time. They do that at the primary and the elementary schools. And parents are encouraged to come read with their students and learn about the program. So they want parents to come and see what the students actually do in the AR program. At the elementary school, Jump in the Writing is being purchased for grade 3-5. Of course, Reading Across America for Dr. Seuss's birthday was on the 2nd. Camp Read Spores was the theme. We had readers from the football team, the soccer team, and of course we had readers from our central office reading to the students there at the elementary school. The middle school is working hard to create better communication with their parents through social media. They have their social studies night on February 24th. I've reported to me their Fun Fridays have been a success so far. Rewarding students are passing all classes without missing assignments and providing time for those students missing assignments to get work completed. Because as you know, they combine their 2 times together so that they have extended remediation time, so they're still trying to provide time for students to get work made up. At the high school, they're working on accomplishing the students to set their personal goals for the end of semester math assessment, which is a really, really good idea. I've done that in schools before, and by having the students set a goal, it actually improved our scores. Major school focus is still student engagement. There's a lot of professional learning going on, and I'm also providing professional development at the high school as well. Under professional development, we're still working toward improving math instruction and writing instruction. The professional development is ongoing. We have focused observations, and at this point, we're trying to limit our observation form. We shortened it a pretty good bit to kind of narrow focus, but now we're looking for specific pieces of it now based on professional development that's provided. So far this month, I've done continuing professional development, reading, writing, speaking, and listening math at the high school. At the elementary school, I provided that a different version of that, with different problems for the teachers to work. I did that during the PLC time. Upcoming tomorrow, I have reciprocal teaching for math teachers. And there's been a lot of debate when at the beginning of the year we put out our observation form had a list, a pretty lengthy list of strategies, research-based strategies. One of those was reciprocal teaching. I think we had different definitions when we got that all cleared up. So we all know what reciprocal teaching is. Questioning, clarifying, predicting, and summarizing. But I'm doing this for math teachers, so we are changing predicting to planning because we plan to solve a problem. And so I'll be doing that tomorrow at the middle school, and then the next day I'll be at the primary school with writing fluency and instructional training for primary school students. In the curriculum, I have a couple of charts. Can you play those up?
What's the internal? They're at the bottom,
There at the bottom.
They're at the bottom.
page 3 and 4.
It's a little sideways, but that's okay. With the new math curriculum, we're gonna start meeting about the math curriculum. It's more than just a change in the standards and a change from, a lot of the standards that I'm reading now is more focused on critical thinking instead of processing, which is what everybody's telling us our future needs. We need to have really good critical thinkers. But also, they had a flood change in middle and high school. And you can see that they used to have like 6 1/2 of 7 and 7 1/2 of 8, the other half of 7 and all of 8 if you were on an accelerated path. They don't want us to do that anymore. They want us to go deeper in 6 and deeper in 7. And they created a course in 8 that's for the enhanced 8th grade and for the algebra. And students will get credit for 8th grade and the algebra course if they go down that path. And if you'll notice, that path splits again at the end of 9th grade where they can follow a more traditional track, or they can really accelerate and wind up in college courses in their 12th grade year. But that doesn't put anybody out. If they're on the regular track starting in 6th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, if you'll notice that at the end of 10th, they have another opportunity. If, we do have students that pick it up. I've taught some of those students. I had 3 students my last full year of teaching in basically just support, man. And the next year we put them in accelerator. So sometimes they catch on, and so we need to have a path for them. And so they're changing some of that. And of course, the other one is just a list of everything. It's really massive when you look at the choices that students have when you get to before senior math. And so there's something for everybody there. And I wanted to bring you up to speed on that. We're going to have some district-wide decisions on how we're going to put this in place. Mm-hmm. And we'll be doing that over the rest of this school year and next school year, because the full implementation is year after.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wade.
All right, report on special ed.
Hey,
Ms.
good
Kimball.
afternoon. It's good to be back, standing here talking to everybody about special education. I'm excited to tell you that we have had a very busy year in special education. As you know, most of our students are in an inclusionary setting, so they are held to the same curricular standards that the students are that Mr. Webb comes to talk to you about. It's not regular ed, not special ed, it's all ed. They continue to be held to those same curricular standards, and they are doing well. I think last year we had one of the highest graduation rates of special education students that we have had in a long time. So we're so excited, and I can get that, I don't even know why I didn't get that for you, but it was the largest we've had in a long time. And I can send that out to you for information. It's been a busy year. What I've sent out to you is kind of like our report card. Sometimes people go, oh, how do you know that special education is doing what they're supposed to do? Or how do you know they're following all those rules and regulations? Well, we get a report card, and it's just like, when you took it home to your mama. You knew whether you had an A or a B or C or an F or what have you. And those things come in, you're a little nervous, but we're doing a great job in special education. The staff, the teachers, the compliance monitors, the head teachers at each school. But if you look, we have different indicators that we are held responsible for every year, and this can impact your federal funding. It can impact having the right corrective action plan. But the first is the rates of suspension and expulsion for children with disabilities by race and ethnic groups. A lot of counties have a lot of problem with this. They are expelling or suspending more students in different ethnicities and in a disproportionate rate. Thank goodness we do not. We were not found disproportionate in any area. The areas that they actually look for determinations of disproportionality are race, ethnicity, discipline, identification, placement, where they are actually placed. Are they placed in special education classes more so than than regular education classes? And representation, which Which groups, do we have more mild students who are African American, or more SLD students who are white students? They look at all of those different scenarios to find out if you're disproportionate or not. They use a nice long, very hard to understand formula, and I'm glad that they do that and just send us the notation as to whether or not we met that. But they apply that formula, and we have not been disproportionate in any of that.
They
And-
include, I'm sorry, do they include gender with that?
Yes, they do. We look at that. They don't rate us by the gender part, but they do whenever you're looking in the portal, whenever you're comparing your SPED child count data, we do look at that. But they don't rate us by that, but
Okay.
we do. Now, sometimes they will tell us you have more African American males who are EDD. You need to look at that. Or you may have more, girls who are white that are speech language, have a speech language in it. So we do have to look at some of those, kinds of things. There are the top levels, you have indicator 9 and 10, we were not disproportionate. Our general supervision, there's a lot of reports that have to be sent. We have timelines that we have to meet. When a student is referred to special ed, the parent signs consent, we have 60 days to get that evaluation completed. And we have to answer to that, because they will look and make sure those evaluations and those eligibilities are dated like they're supposed to be. We have 60 days, and so far, everything we've turned in has been timely. When we have an FTE count or a student record count, we have a drop dead date, we have our sign-off date. And Dr. Stone has to have that signed off by June 14th for student records in certain days. So if I sign off, we put a lot of heat on each other, both of us, to make sure that we get our jobs done there, because if she doesn't sign off, like for student record, if Ms. Dawn Clements doesn't sign off on CPI and student record, but I've signed off on my student record, I get dinged. So I don't like that. So they've never done that to me, but we all kind of put a lot of pressure on each other. And then Dr. Stone certainly has to answer to her folks too if she doesn't sign off on FTE. So there's lots of different ways, but that's all of our timely reporting, and they rate us on that. They want us to make sure that we meet those federal guidelines. And sometimes money can be attached to that. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you might have your money held up. Maintenance of effort, that is something that Ms. Clements has learned a lot about. That means we are spending as much money on our special needs students in meeting their needs as we are regular education students. We have to spend at least a little bit, we have to spend more than the amount. We have to make our effort, we have to meet our effort. And when we spend we get federal funds and we get state funds. They want you to spend those state funds before you touch those federal funds. They want you to say, okay, you spend the money that we gave you. Now we've got a grant fund over here that you spend for the extra things that are needed, like our therapies, like our special tables. We have certain tables that have to let up and let down for wheelchairs. We can't buy brick and mortar things. We can't buy really bricks to do anything for the high school. We can't buy buses, but we can certainly buy equipment, our specialized computers, specialized Promethean type boards that may not be used in the regular education classroom. It has to be really above and beyond what goes on in that regular ed classroom, or what a regular ed student would actually have.
So we have more than enough funding to take care of our children.
Yes, ma'am.
For their special needs.
Yes, ma'am. We have funding to take. And I will be honest with you, with the COVID funding that has come, we have plenty. But there are lots of stipulations that go with that, and you have to justify everything that you purchased, because Matt and Brandon have been awesome with me, because we wanted to buy specialized Promethean boards, not Prometheans, but actual boards like Dr. Harrelson has in his office, where you may have an EDD child sitting in your classroom. They may not want to get up and go to the board, but they can sit right at their computer and they can flash whatever they want to onto that board. And so whenever I put that, we have to ask for permission. Whenever I put that permission, the DOE liaison was like, well, are you sure this is in every room? I said, no, I can assure you, it is not in every room, especially the rooms where we're the only ones that have this, because they're really the only ones, like if it's a resource class, or if it's another classroom that you've got a child who's deaf, hard of hearing, we may have to have a surround sound system, those kinds of things. That's what we're using that money for. So we really want to try to be good stewards of, especially that, of all of our money, but especially with the COVID money, there's a lot it's really tight on how you can spend it. I just don't wanna be a person that buys a truckload of construction paper. I mean, that's not gonna do a whole lot of good to a whole lot of people. But if we can buy some nice computers for our kids that have all the bells and whistles that they need, that have the, built-in Wi-Fi and things like that for our kids, the nicer boards that we can use, that's what we need to spend our money on, not, a whole truckload of paper pencils. Because that's all we're at. But we have to make that timely effort for that, and we have to send in a report, and it has to explain everything and how we actually did that. Children of age, like I said, we had to have evaluations completed within 60. We met all of those. Every student, that's the students ages 3 through 21, whether they were initial evaluations or whether they were reevaluation. We've met all of our timelines on our students there. Our kids come in from Babies Can't Wait. We have to make sure that the day Babies Can't Wait talks us, we're on a deadline. We gotta get that kid in here and get it done. Post-secondary goals for transition. Not only do we have to plan for our special ed students for when they are here with us, we have to plan for them when they leave. What are they gonna do the day they walk out of Fitzgerald High School? What are they gonna do? How are we gonna, and we have to report back a year later to see if that student was, if he had said he was gonna go to college, is he enrolled in college? If he is in sheltered work setting, are they in a sheltered work setting? And we have to plan for those, the goals and objectives. We do interest inventories with our students, and we do what they call our dream sheets of what they want to do. And that's how they build their transition plan, what they want to do, how they want to do, where they're going to live, how they're going to plan to get that job, if they want to go into the service. What do you need to do to go into the Army? What do you need to do to go to the Marines? You don't just go walk up there and sign up. There's a lot of things that you have to prepare for. So we have to start in 8th grade, the end of their 8th grade year, in helping them plan transition. What do you want to do, and what are our steps to get you there? So, and we've been successful in doing that. So we had our state targets on everything is 100%, and we've met 100% for that. So, and then we've had no non-compliant issues for this last year. So we were 100%. So we got 100% on our report card. So we were extremely happy. That'll make a bad day go really good for you in a real quick minute. So we're excited about that. But that's nothing that I do on my own. There is a team out there who they are working daylight to dark on kids, and when COVID hit, and they were doing writing IEPs, and they were instructing students virtually, and doing all this, and keeping it, and for us to make 100% in the midst of all of that, those folks are just jamming up. We've got a lot of great folks out there.
I was going to commend Ms. Kimmerell and Ms. Dr. Stone, but especially our special ed teachers. When I came here as a superintendent, we were disproportionate.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And we solved that immediately based off the innovative practice model, and we have not been disproportionate ever since.
That is, we've not even been in the yellow. The yellow is kind of, when you look at it, it's like red lights, you say, whoa, okay, it's coming if you don't slow down. We've not even been in the yellow. So that's the exciting thing, is when you read your disproportionality sheet and you see no color. You don't want to see any color, you just want to see all white. All that white is when you see yellow and red, in blue, you're in trouble. You've got some issues, but we did not. I did want to bring you up today on our mental health project, the mental health telehealth counseling update. We got the grant that we had applied for that I told y'all back a while ago, and we've been utilizing that. And we talk with the SOAC grant folks every single month so that they know that we're on track. Right now, we are working with we're starting out working with Professional Advancement Department of Counseling, but now our numbers are such that we are also working with Mercer Family Therapy Clinic at Mercer University in Atlanta. So we're working with 2 Mercer entities, 2 Mercer departments, the College of Professional Advancement for Counseling, and then the Family Therapy Unit. So far, we have 20 students that are being seen across the schools. And I will tell you, I did not sit in, I phrased that wrong. I was there the day that they had the first counseling. I did not see the child, I was in another room, they escorted the child in, we made sure the computers were set up, we made sure the child was in there. But I'll tell you, when that kid left out of there, I never saw him, I don't know who it is. I don't even know if it's a girl or a boy, honestly. It was like the best day ever. I mean, we were shedding tears and we were happy and excited. Because we knew that if we only got that one kid behind that camera with that therapist, we made a difference somewhere. And now we have 20, and we have actually more that are coming. We've got, I think, 5 or so more that we have on deck. That's right now. We're planning with our group, with our team, to determine how we're going to provide these services over the summer. Their mental health issues will not leave us. Will not leave them when our school bells ring at the last day of school. So we're going to work with the counselors to make sure that our students are being seen and their students, because they will be working during the summer, so that our kids can be seen. So we're working up a plan on how to either get them to school or how to get them signed up at home on their devices to be able to have that regular counseling appointments. We've actually had parents who are actually joining in some counseling with their students as well. So it has been way more than we could have ever had hoped and imagined. We had a student that one of our counselors was talking about after Christmas, that she almost did not recognize the student because the child wasn't walking with her head down and wasn't not speaking. She spoke to the child and they were just, opening up, and she saw it just a great difference. So it is to us for them. But also, we were asked to, because our mental health counseling program here, we did just a podcast I did with the Georgia Department of Education and Dr. Dan Hauser with Mercer University. It's called What's Special in Rural Georgia Schools, and we got to talk about that for the entire state of Georgia. So when the podcast hits, I'll let you know when it comes so that you can give it a listen and hear about what we're doing in Benhill County. We're contacted by the DOE, who came here to visit Dr. Harrelson and I to talk about the mental health program and how we can help other counties around the state of Georgia implement this as well. And we're right now, Christy Cook and I are working with Washington County because they're about to start a program like this, and we're working with Washington County on doing that as well. So it's been exciting. We've done some professional development in picture exchange communication, applied behavioral analysis therapy this year. We're getting ready to do GAA training because even our severe and profound students have to be tested on the same standards as our regular education and special education at higher level students. So we're doing the GAA training, and we're going to be doing some IEP back to basics writing this summer because we did an IEP review and we've got materials we need to definitely beef up. So we'll be doing some back to the basics.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am, I have just two. You answered one of them. The parents are very receptive then to the mental health. They don't feel any stigma or
No, ma'am.
labels are being put on their children.
And what we've tried to do is we've tried to use the terminology not exactly. Sometimes when you say mental health, they get a little,
So we say behavior.
They kind of get, but then you start explaining what it is, and then this is a help. And we've learned that now in the state, we can't say the word social emotional anymore. That's one of the words that we're not allowed to say. So we are very careful how we present to parents. We have some wonderful counselors who a counselor just has that way about them anyway. And they can talk to them and let them know it's a big help. And we have not had anybody that has said that they did not more. We've had maybe one that was supposed to fill out the paperwork, and we've had to run around and find them to fill out the paperwork, but nobody has complained about the service, and nobody has not taken us up on the service at all.
So how do children refer?
Ma'am?
So how do children refer for the service? Do they volunteer?
No, ma'am. There's some that are on the counseling. We have some assessments that we do, but there are some that are like frequent flyers when they're counseling. We've actually had a physician call the office and say, hey, I've got a patient. Can you see this patient? And so we get that involved, but they go through a social history checklist to make sure, and then they're seen that way. And that goes straight to, if a teacher feels like a child needs to be referred, they refer, but a lot of it comes straight from the counselor seeing these kids and knowing and feeling what their needs are. Because you may have a kid that just comes every day, it's not really deemed a mental health type issue, or not deemed, but you've got some of those that you really, really know have some deep-seated issues that they need to be taken care of.
And then my last question, I don't know if you know this, what's the percentage of children with special needs that we have in our overall school? It used to be around 10%.
We run about 11 to 12%. And right now, like our enrollment this year, total enrollment, right now is 363. That's today. Actually, we added 3 more after I did this report. 3 more kiddos came in, so we've got 366. But last year was 379, but that may change. I mean, it just, it changes every single day, with whatever. That's a breakdown for the whole school. I mean, for the whole school system.
Thank you for the report.
If you need anything else, call me.
Excellent report, Wanda, thank you.
All right, moving into new business, we have our purchase order report, well, our purchases report over 10,000. For your information, these were, I think, purchase orders we approved in the past.
That's correct.
We had the expenditures.
That's exactly right, yes, sir.
Your second page is the funding source on those. Any questions? All right, last night we had,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
on that report, whatever happened to that 3 million that we approved on technology project? Is that the same report on that $10,000 plus?
No, sir, this was different. This is through CTAE.
And so whatever happened to that 3,023,000?
We still got it. Matt can have it for us.
I thought we were getting it every month.
When we went to the new purchase policy, you know, that was kind of a pre-approval when we were still on the
It was a
policy.
Yeah, we approved 3,023,000.
Right.
And we were supposed to get a rundown until we got to that amount. And we haven't seen them in 2-3 months.
I can keep putting that together. My understanding was that once we went to the new purchase policy, that kind of changed. Not that we can keep making it, that's not a problem. It was just an understanding that when it shifted, that kind of, that documentation need went away, but still the need.
It's not a problem. We can get it to you. We'll get it to you tomorrow, so you can have it.
Thank you.
Can we add that back to April?
Sure.
Okay. Last night we had a work session on budgeting and we talked about, we didn't talk about facilities, I'm talking about strategic plan. All right, this is our 5-year facility plan, go ahead.
So, talking about strategic
5
plan,
year, you know.
just to let you know, what you heard in the report today was exactly what Mr. Carpenter was talking about last night. We put these things on a line item based off of that, in that change. Now, this year, you will be getting the standard and the goal that will go with them. So, every time they report, they'll have their standard and their goal in a line item next to it. So it'll make it very easy when we go back and you look, did we cover this, did we not, throughout the school year. So just letting you know that. The next thing is, we have been very busy. On top of everything else, we had to create a new 5-year facility plan. I had to do that with the state, then I had to make a full presentation that involved 6 other superintendents and Mr. Leonard McCoy, and walk them through our facilities, the plans, the overall earnings of what we earn from the state and capital outlay, what we don't earn based off of FTE, and present that to them. And then they wrote a full recommendation back based off of that and approved us for our new 5-year facility plan. They were very excited about our new high school and very excited about the renovation projects that will be coming on board. And with that being said, we need to sign this resolution so I can send that to the state so we can have our new 5-year facility report approved.
Is there a motion for the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt a resolution for the 5-year facility plan.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor of the resolution to accept the 5-year facility plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. All right, next is a grant for homeless children and youth.
Yes, sir. This is for your information, based off of ESSER 3 and CARES funding. We will be looking at buying an SUV that will be utilized by Kim Minshew for social work, for homeless liaison. And this is an outstanding opportunity for our school system. And the availability to have that paid for by those funds is also a true blessing. Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Entertain a motion, well, we don't need to approve that.
No, sir.
That's just information.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Excuse me, all right. I need to report to you that it is time for legislative positions, also for self-nomination. GSBA is seeking officers for president and vice president. And that self-nomination form is there. I've been asked to serve on the interview committee on the 23rd of April, I think. And we're in person, again, not virtual this year. So if you are so inclined to seek one of those, your form is right there. Also, I told you I'd forget the purchase order. We have a purchase order that we added to the agenda. It's in the amount of $23,024.75, and that's to Ernie Morris for purchase of some tables for the high school. Entertain a motion to approve that. Pardon, what?
We had to get 3 quotes, and the third quote came back $8,000 cheaper, so it's not Ernie Morris, it's School Outlet.
School outlet.
For $15,517.28.
15,000.
$15,517.
So they're on the back.
Yes, nice.
$15,517.28.
I believe it's on the second page.
It's on the second page.
Thank you, Don.
Saving us money everywhere you can.
Thank you for the thing, yeah.
So these are testing tables with the actual carts. And basically what happens is the auditorium is going to be fantastic to help us along with the lunchroom. But there are times that we need to be able to put tables up inside the gym and test all kids at one time. And Mr. Sims will be using his money out of his general fund to purchase those based off of that need. Not yet.
All right, here it is. All right, entertain a motion to approve tables from School Outlet. It's $15,517.28.
I'll make a motion.
Same table.
Same table, you're cheap. Same table, you're cheap.
Who made the second?
Anybody, I did. Jerry.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries.
Good.
For this one.
Good.
All right, back on the previous thing, on the GSBA legislative activities we have in June, our Savannah conference coming up, that's when we do our legislative positions. We need to elect a delegate and an alternate of those planning to attend that function.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Teresa Davis as our delegate in Savannah for that. She's done it for several years. She has a lot of experience, and so I would like to nominate her.
Okay. You going? You willing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of Teresa serving as our delegate, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? We also need an alternate.
Who seconded that motion?
Do what?
Who seconded Shirley's
It's a
motion?
nomination. When I
It
second.
was just a nomination based off of that.
We need an alternate.
Alternate.
Anybody plan on going that wants to be an alternate?
You can? I nominate Jeremy Cox to serve as our alternate.
All right, Jeremy, you
It's a
good?
wonderful experience, Jeremy. You should go even if you don't get to do it.
All right. Everybody good with Jeremy being the alternate? Okay, Jeremy being the alternate. All right, now we got upcoming events of our regular meeting, April 12th, is that right?
I can't believe you're talking about April.
That's correct. It's scheduled for April 12th.
June was when we were having problems.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We do have the summer conference. Your dates shown on there is 10 and 11. That is the conference. The pre-conference workshops where we obtain our training hours is actually on the 9th, which is on, I think, a Wednesday, which would probably require that you go up on the 8th. The registration is not open yet, but as soon as you know if you're planning to attend, you need to let Debbie know so we can be working on all that. I'm planning on going.
I won't be able to
You're
attend.
not going? Anybody else know? Well, y'all two are obviously going.
If things stay in the same direction, I plan to go.
So,
Kenneth, what you think?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Okay. All right.
so then do you want to come up with an alternate date of Monday? Look
On
at
the
it.
June.
June 13th.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Our June board meeting, as you heard last night, for the presentation of the strategic plan was June the 9th. That's on a Thursday. Or June the 9th, most of us be gone to Savannah. So we might need to look at an alternate date. The June the 7th is not available, although that's not the normal time anyway. Second Tuesday, June the 14th is not available for a workshop that you'll be attending. So June the 6th, possibly?
June the 6th or June the 13th?
13th probably.
13th. I would say the 13th. That whole week, I'm gonna be in court, Brian, so I can.
Okay.
The week of the 6th, I will.
All right. Let's look at June the 13th for our monthly board meeting.
That would be great.
Oh, the April 12th thing was the tentative date of the summit.
That's correct.
That's been
That's correct.
scratched. Okay, that's what it was.
You gonna do a motion here to move it?
Yeah, we'll move the June meeting to the 13th.
13th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a governance training. Remember, you have your personal disclosures to be filed this year.
Yes, I understand that if you have to file it within 15 days, if you're running again,
Yep.
running this year.
Yeah, and qualifying is this week for full. All right, moving to personnel. Come on. All right, first item, entertain a motion to ratify the prior action taken on February the 24th to employ Queenie Gear at the central registration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Yes, second, I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
already took
Second.
action, okay. Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the following recommendations. That's Kim Bryant, Nancy Swords, Flora Cooper, William Ahmad, Susan Landrum, Sherry Brown, Selena Bird, Erica White, Jessica Griffin, Michelle Archer, Becky Wallace, and Bonnie Kelly for the positions so listed.
Motion.
Second?
Motion second, any discussion?
Can we go to executive session?
Okay. All right, we will scratch that. All right. I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for discussion of personnel
Second.
after a brief recess. Second, any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right,